Trusting God's Plan, Jeremiah 29:11. Have you ever faced a season of uncertainty, wondering what God is doing in your life? Maybe you've asked, does God really have a plan for me? If so, you're not alone. But today, I want to encourage you with one of the most beloved promises in Scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This verse is often quoted when we need reassurance, but did you know that when God spoke these words, His people were in exile? They were in a difficult place, far from home, feeling forgotten. Yet God reminded them that He still had a plan, a good one. God says in Isaiah 55:8-9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Sometimes God's plan doesn't make sense to us. We might feel lost, confused, or even frustrated. But Isaiah 55 reminds us that God sees the bigger picture. His plans are higher, better, and beyond what we can imagine. Romans 8:28 tells us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Notice that Romans 8:28 doesn't say all things are good. It says that God works all things for good. Even in our struggles, disappointments, and waiting seasons, God is weaving together a purpose greater than we can see. Like a tapestry, we may only see the tangled threads of our lives, but God sees the beautiful masterpiece He is creating. You might be wondering, how can I have hope when everything around me seems uncertain? Maybe you've been praying for breakthrough, but nothing seems to change. Maybe you've experienced loss, disappointment, or unexpected detours in life. It's in those moments that we need to hold tightly to God's promises rather than our circumstances. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." This verse teaches us something powerful. Our understanding is limited, but God's wisdom is infinite. We may not always see where the road leads, but when we trust Him, He will direct our steps. Think about it this way. If you were driving through thick fog at night, you wouldn't stop moving just because you couldn't see the whole road. You'd trust your headlights to show you enough to take the next step. That's what faith is, trusting that God gives us just enough light for each step we take in Him. Our hope in God isn't based on whether life is easy or everything is going our way. It's based on His character. The Bible tells us in Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. His mercies are new every morning." That means no matter what happened yesterday, God is still faithful today. He is still working, still leading, and still writing your story with purpose. Sometimes the hardest part of trusting God's plan is waiting for answers, waiting for doors to open, waiting for healing, restoration, or direction. But waiting doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Isaiah 40 verse 31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Waiting on God isn't passive, it's active trust. It's saying, "God, I may not see it yet, but I know you are working behind the scenes. And while we wait, He strengthens us, renews us, and prepares us for what's ahead. Just like a seed planted in the ground takes time to grow, God's plans for you are developing, even when you can't see them yet. If you feel stuck, if you feel like God has forgotten you, remember Jeremiah 29:11. His plans for you are still in motion. His purpose for you is greater than your present situation. And no matter what, you can have hope because He is faithful. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Psalm 27 verses 13 to 14. God is not just planning for your eternity. He has goodness for you here and now. Keep trusting, keep seeking, and keep believing. Your future is in God's hands, and it is filled with hope.